When John White arrived in North Carolina in 1587 to find the colony of Roanoke completely abandoned, he found something else as well, a mystery that has never been solved. In the year 1584, the third Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth I, granted a charter to Sir Walter Raleigh to establish settlements on the then unknown mainland of North America. Raleigh named his territory Virginia in honor of the Virgin Queen. And in 1585, he sent a group of about 120 English settlers to settle there under the direction of a man named Sir Francis Drake. The settlement was not successful. Within months, most of the colonists had died from disease or starvation, and the rest fled to the Spanish colony of Cuba. Determined to make his colony a success, Raleigh made several changes. He brought in a new governor, John White, who had experience in colonization. But while the second attempt was more successful than the first, it too ultimately failed. The colonists survived the winter of 1586 to 87, but by August of 1587, when John White went to England for supplies, he found the settlement deserted. All that was left behind was the word Croatan carved into a post. This mystery has never been solved. There were three major theories as to what happened to the colonists of Roanoke. One theory is that they were killed by the local Native Americans. Another theory is that they intermixed with the Native Americans. And the third theory is that they moved to another location and established a settlement known as Croatan. If you would like to know which one of these theories we believe, stick around to the end of the video. The first theory is that the colonists were killed by the local Native Americans. There were many different Native American tribes living in what is now North Carolina at the time the English arrived, including the Croatan, the Hatteras, the Chewanic, and the Socotan. It is believed that the colonists interacted with all of these tribes. Because the English did not have written permission to settle in the area from the Spanish, who controlled the land, they were considered trespassers. As we can imagine, this led to tensions with the Native Americans. When the English settled in the area, the Native Americans had been living there for thousands of years. Furthermore, the English took many resources from the Native Americans without paying for them. In addition to the land itself, the colonists took timber, corn, potatoes, fish, and game. They also forced the Native Americans to work for them without pay. Finally, the colonists encroached on sacred Native American burial grounds. All of this led to conflict between the two groups. Unfortunately, the English were better equipped for war than the Native Americans. These advantages enabled the English to defeat the Native Americans in battle. But this does not explain why the colonists abandoned their settlement and left behind the word Croatan. Some historians believe that the Native Americans may have killed the colonists after the battle. This would explain why the settlement was abandoned and why the word Croatan was left behind. However, there is no evidence to support this theory. We do know that the Native Americans did attack the settlement twice during the 3 years it was inhabited. One attack occurred in 1586 and the other in 1587. The attack in 1586 was repelled by the English, but the attack in 1587 was more successful. The English were able to defend themselves against the attack, but they suffered heavy losses. This could have led to the abandonment of the settlement, but it does not explain why the word Croatan was left behind. Theory number 2 is that the colonists intermixed with the Native Americans. This theory is based on the fact that when John White returned to Roanoke in 1590, he found no trace of the colonists. However, he did find evidence that they had lived there. This suggests that the colonists did not flee. Instead, they disappeared. There are 2 possible explanations for this. The first is that they were killed by the Native Americans, and their bodies were never found. The second is that they intermixed with the Native Americans, and their descendants still live in the area today. There is no evidence to support either of these theories. Theory number 3 is that the colonists moved to another location and established a settlement known as Croatan. This theory is based on the fact that when John White returned to Roanoke in 1590, he found the settlement abandoned but no trace of the colonists. This suggests that they did not flee, but instead moved to another location. The Croatan people lived in an area known as Hatteras Island, which is located off the coast of what is now North Carolina. The island was named Croatan because it was home to a Native American tribe of the same name. When the colonists arrived in 1585, they were welcomed by the Croatan people. The Croatan people were peaceful and did not believe in killing other people. This is in contrast to the other Native American tribes in the area, such as the Roanoke and Socotan. The Roanoke and Socotan were hostile towards the English and attacked the settlement twice. The Croatan, on the other hand, were friendly and welcomed the English. This suggests that if the colonists had to flee Roanoke, they would have been safe on Croatan Island. Furthermore, the name of the island itself, Croatan, was a Native American word meaning friend. This suggests that the Native Americans on the island were friendly towards the English. Finally, when John White returned to Roanoke in 1590, he reported seeing a boat on the beach that was similar to the ones used by the Croatan people. He also reported seeing a campfire that had been used recently. All of this evidence suggests that the colonists fled to Croatan Island, leaving also the word craved on a tree. Which theory do we think happened? We believe that the colonists did not die or disappear. Instead, they moved to another location and established a settlement known as Croatan. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button below to let me know. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.